My name is Joan Clevillé and I'm the artistic director of Joan Clevillé Dance and the choreographer of the North. I come from Barcelona and I've been living in Scotland for 7 years, so the North is an important subject for me. It's been a very interesting journey of exploring an idea that is very, very wide and that is very different for each person. We all have an idea of the North, so I enjoyed this universal aspect of the idea of North. When we started working with it, I was keen on trying to explore it, maybe not so much finding one specific geographic idea of North, but more to find a place that was more like a place in your mind, a space of the imagination. The piece talks about isolation and being in an environment that is hostile, so it talks about struggling in a place that you don't know, that you don't understand, and holding uncertainty, being in a place where anything could happen, and learning to feel comfortable with that. For me, the North then becomes a bit as a metaphor for our place in the world, maybe. And then, of course, there are ideas about how we relate with the environment. In the piece, there are different approaches to that. The two women feel very much rooted in the environment and they feel very comfortable in it, whereas the character from John comes in as an outsider and perhaps even unconsciously he has a very strong effect in the environment. He might end up destroying it, changing it, wanting to make it something that it's not. Those different ways of relating with an environment I find very, very interesting as well. There is a big range of things you can see: loss, longing, memories, insanity, friendship, meeting a place and people that are essentially very different from yourself, and therefore that being a journey of self-discovery about yourself as well as others. When we started exploring the idea of North, it was so broad. We really brought in many different approaches, and some of them were very abstract. We considered and explored a version of the piece where it would have been very formal and very much based in dance and movement and music and light, but I'm very drawn to stories and storytelling and narratives. We have this little story going through the piece with this man who wakes up in this very barren, empty space where there are two strangers that feel very much at home. It's their home, but it's not his, and he's constantly searching for a way out, constantly talking about wanting to go back home. And then at some point he realizes he doesn't actually really know where that home is, so he feels very much stuck, as if he was in a waiting room or some sort of strange purgatory or in a limbo state. The ending of the piece, John is desperately trying to find out what's the meaning of it all, of his journey in this place. And they reach a point where they can't speak about it anymore. Words seem to fail, and so the two women just move on into this sort of ritualistic dance. It's very raw. It's improvised. We've been working with very specific movement materials and scores with voice and sound and movement. The fact is that they are still approaching it without knowing what it is exactly that they're going to do. And I find that very, very moving and encapsulates the essence of the piece, which is being comfortable with not knowing and being comfortable with the uncomfortable, with the uncertainty, with listening for the moment and the experience and as it arises, and then making decisions around them. And I find that very exciting to watch dancers and performers making decisions in real time, and there's something very human about it that I'm very drawn to. I think there is an interest in movement research, so it's not necessarily having a language that is codified, but then as well experimenting with the relation of that sort of very abstract interest in movement with storytelling and narrative and sound. I have a lot of fun playing with text, and I really enjoy this, bringing different elements: dance, theatre, song, puppetry, storytelling, and working with very versatile artists that can really offer very generously all of these different skills. And I think this mixture feels like a bit of a recognizable style or practice in my work. I'm definitely interested in sharing something that feels human. I'm interested in human experience. This combination between an interest in movement and in research, but yet without losing the aspect of humanity and our shared condition of sharing this life and this world.